everybody. This is Peter Cook. Now, Peter is an engineer with a fascinating story. It's about reorganizing our world. It's about, well, actually being far more in tune with nature. You sort of started this, was it 30 years ago, Peter?
30 years ago, working on the problems of turbulence inside engines. And I bought a book on chaos. And it said that turbulence is not explained by any law of physics.
Right.
But it's the same physical material that goes over the wing in laminar flow. So you can't have that two different kinds of explanations for the same stuff.
Right.
So what I did is 10 years ago is to start working with somebody called Professor Gideon Lovey and a man called Michael Woods and start again from scratch to put science back together. You have to put together biology and physics because they're the study of the same material. It's just atoms. Therefore, if it's all the same stuff and it all works together, it must have a common set of principles. And we thought that was going to turn out to be physics, and that hasn't happened. So just let me show you some books.
Yes.
Bankrupting Physics. How today's top scientists are gambling away their credibility. How the laws of physics lie. That's not true. All the laws of physics are correct, but they don't explain biology or snowflakes or solar systems.
Right.
A world beyond physics. We have to get to something beyond physics to explain biology. I'm going to show you what that is. The end of physics. The trouble with physics, Lee Smolin, he's been saying for more than a decade, we've got all the pieces of the puzzle, but we're not analyzing the data correctly.
Right, let me step back a little bit. So what you told me is we have a basic problem with the way humanity does science. And you say when you go to university, you learn about nature in separate departments, but in reality, it all works together.
Absolutely.
And you said the problem is we are pandering to the norm. The human mistake started at the time of Isaac Newton. And
yes,
so
that's right.
Rather a lot of ground to catch up on to justify.
Absolutely.
So tell us more about this, Peter. How could this new way of looking at things improve our lives?
What's very important is that we learn what is actually driving nature. We're part of nature. What are the causes of all the actions that we see? So it's been fairly obvious for a long time, the mathematical brain. Now, come on, it's speaking to you. The mathematical reality, the mathematics of life is got a mathematician. A maths book with biology on the front. Now, come on, this is talking to you. Same thing again. Let me say a sentence that's going to wake up the world. Here's a book on the beauty of nature. All these patterns in nature could not be there unless nature was using the mathematics that makes the patterns. There's a sentence to wake up the world. That has to be true. Everybody can understand that. Mathematics is driving reality. We need to switch over to looking at mathematics as controlling our behavior. And it doesn't control it completely because we do have choices. Free will, which is all explained in this book here, which is the unpredictable parts of nature, chaos and non-linear dynamics, and that means chaos and complexity. We are free to make choices, and we have to choose to build safe social systems, safe political systems, which are all accountable. How wonderful would that be?
It would be wonderful, Peter. What I should say, though, is rather a lot of people are distracted with the painting behind you, find it quite disturbing. Is that a child with a hood over? What's going on there?
You'd have to ask the artist who painted it. It's the artist is very, very badly crippled with arthritis, and I think he's the doll on the couch, and it's in a hospital ward. But what I'd like to do, Sonia, is just to prove to everybody how powerful this information is. I'd like to use it to put together quantum mechanics and relativity live now, here and now, so everybody can see how it works.
Let's go.
If you say that it's mathematically driven, an information-driven universe, then relativity is simply matter and space behaving to geometric rules. That's what general relativity is, the geometric description of gravity. Quantum mechanics is matter and space behaving to arithmetic rules, quanta, numbers, things you can count. And you've got another set of rules, which are fractal. You only need 3 sets of base rules to describe everything else. Everything comes out of that. So we've got these rules. You've just heard me put together quantum mechanics and relativity, boom, live on just a Friday morning.
Yep.
And now humanity changes forever, because when the public know that we've got this information, they will demand that we have to use it to build safe societies.
Mm-hmm. I received an email from a supporter of yours, Darren, and he was so like, you've got to talk to Peter. This man has changed the way I look at things. The problem is, Peter, is that we have so much information, but so much bad information, right? So we're constantly being pointed in the wrong direction.
Yes, yes. What the science community now is doing is looking at a magic trick that can't make any sense of nature. So the brain goes off on all these wild things. When you see how the magic trick is done, which is the information which I have, everything falls into one simple, clear reality, no confusing language. So the viewers today can hear I'm not using any confusing language.
No. And the thing is, as people point out in the comments, engineers solve problems. And you said to me, you're a problem solver. That's, you know, what you do. You find solutions.
That's what we do. We stand in front of problems and face them. Universities don't face their problems. They don't care that they don't reflect reality. They just get on with the job because that's what the human brain does. We have to care because we need this information as a human system.
Right. And you've obviously had work published. You sent to 13 universities. What was the response?
Every one of them refused to speak about it. And I kept all the excuses. And there's a very obvious pattern. We don't want to speak about this. That's not how you do science. You do science by standing in front of problems and facing them. I'm an ex-motorcycle racer, and motorcycle racing gets to truth. That's what the public want.
Yeah, I mean, we do. We want we want a better world, don't we? Less political, less greedy, where people are more harmonious, more in tune. I mean, what you're asking really is a huge ask, because you're asking for us to completely reevaluate the way that we look at life. That's a massive ask, isn't it? Especially because there's so much money involved in this. You know, the world has been set out in a certain way. Universities view it in a certain way and teach it a certain way, and our interactions and how. So it's a massive job. It's a massive job. How do people react to you wanting to do this?
Right, we must not be afraid to tackle massive jobs. This work needs to be done. We've got all the tools to do the work. If we're afraid, we will continue until we destroy ourselves. If we go on as we are, we just end up in nonsense. The history books are brutal, absolutely brutal. We have to get beyond that. We've got the information. I'm stating it publicly. I will be held to account for everything that I say. Hold my feet to the fire. I will tell you how it's done, and then use it. We've got the tools. We cannot ignore them anymore.
And you'd said that the pattern is used every day in industry.
Yes. Yes, industry is already using this information. I teach it to engineering students and they absolutely love it.
So what's the next step, Peter, in getting this out?
The next step is simply more publicity, so that I can start to tell everybody how this was done, step by step by step. Once people have this information and then realize how powerful it is, and that you can use it just to raise intelligent, well-behaved children, who wouldn't want that? To get back to enjoying being simple human beings, sat around a campfire with music and friends and a glass of beer. That's all you need to be happy. You don't need a super yacht.
And you say, so what it will also do is lead to a new set of scientific tools. How will that benefit us?
We'll do everything by science, because at the minute, things like climate change, nobody knows what to do, who to believe. So books like this, The Physics of Climate Change, absolute nonsense. There is no physics which explains any climate change. So who do you believe? Now, there's one explanation for science. It's got lots of free choices, free parameters, which are not preset. So we can choose our future. That has not been determined.
What would you like people to know about what it is that you have been working on?
That it's safe. It's completely safe. There's no new atomic bombs. It leads to a safe, gentle, harmonious way of us living together and living in nature. Everybody can learn it. It needs to be taught in schools. Schools at the minute teach mathematics as some abstract subjects, boring children to death. They need to learn how mathematics builds the universe, and they can do that. I've taught it to children as young as 10. No problem.
Really.
Yes.
So
That's on my YouTube channel.
right. Okay. So give us a takeaway message that, because it's one of those intangible things. You're telling us that there is a better way of existing and you know how to access it, and it's being denied us. Is it being denied us for financial reasons?
It's been denied us for sociological reasons, that people don't like change. Universities want to continue as they are, not reflecting any reality. You can't have that. University students need to be given access to reality. The base set of laws in the universe is mathematics. It's not physics.
Right. Got you. Everybody, this is Peter Cook, the engineer. And no doubt Peter will join us at a later stage to tell us more as this develops. And I do hope that we need a better way of existing. We all know that yes. This is not a way. This is not living. You know, this is, I mean, it's, you know, it's a life, but many people are on this wheel, and we need alternatives, a better existence, don't we, Peter?
We do. We all need the same story, a low-level grand narrative for every human being, which every human being can understand and use.
Right.
That's what we need. That's what's on the table.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us this
morning. Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you. Take good care of yourself. Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.